Welcome to Shellcast, the podcast that's a beach break for your ears. Hi everyone, I'm Jackie Parker and I'm with the Lee County Visitor and Convention Bureau in promoting Fort Myers, islands, beaches, and neighborhoods. In this episode of Shellcast, we're going to talk about what life is like here in Southwest Florida post-Hurricane Milton. We've got a lot of ground to cover. My guests for this episode of Shellcast include Pamela Johnson, the Deputy Director of the Lee County Visitor and Convention Bureau, my colleague Miriam Dotson, a Communications Manager with Lee County VCB, Bill Waichulis, the General Manager of Shell Beach Resort Marina, John Lai, the President and CEO of the SanCap Chamber of Commerce and the current Chairman of Visit Florida, Matt Devitt, the Chief Meteorologist for Wink News, and our final guest is Jeff Mielke, the Executive Director of the Lee County Sports Development Office. On October 9th, Hurricane Milton made landfall on Siesta Key in Sarasota County as a Category 3 hurricane with winds of 120 miles per hour. To get you acclimated with Florida geography, Siesta Key in Sarasota County is about 75 miles north of downtown Fort Myers. This is the third hurricane to make landfall in Florida this year, along with Hurricanes Debbie and Helene. With Milton came tornadoes, storm surge, power outages, structural damages to homes and businesses throughout Southwest Florida. It seems that the Fort Myers area recovers from one hurricane and here comes another. But I'm here with my first guests who are going to help me frame this conversation and get some perspective on the destination post-hurricane. I'm here with Pamela Johnson, Deputy Director of the Lee County Visitor and Convention Bureau, and Miriam Dotson, the Communications Manager, also with the VCB. Thank you both for taking the time to be on Shellcast.
Thank you for having us. This is a good conversation.
Absolutely. Thank you for having us, Jackie.
I guess the first thing we can talk about is that post-Hurricane Milton, there are just so many more businesses open than closed. If listeners up north are confused about this, it's totally understandable because we're all getting our information from so many sources. And this episode is just to sort of clarify what we're seeing in our neighborhoods, what we're seeing a week later. And there's just so much in Lee County, in the Fort Myers area, that is open.
And I think it's remarkable to point out for myself as a former media person as well that the images you see stick with people, right? And people think one place in Florida, well, that's all of Florida. And Lee County alone is the size of Rhode Island. It is the size of the state of Rhode Island, and Florida is a big state. So we are always in everything together, I think, as a state. It's an amazing place. We've been told we're resilient, right? So I think we've lived up to that name. And I think it's important for people to know there's many dynamics to Florida, and we are on the beautiful Gulf Coast, and how quickly, especially this time around, I think that we were able to recover, if you will, because of some of the lessons learned from previous storms.
Right.
And for people to not feel like, wow, they saw that one image and it's seared in their head that it's going to look like that forever.
Yeah.
And that's just not the case.
Yeah, and we've got some guests that we're going to be talking to later, and we're going to hear their stories about what they've learned post-hurricanes and how they're just working smarter and getting the job done.
I just wanted to say that, yes, definitely while majority of a lot of Florida was impacted by the most recent hurricanes, the majority of our area was not. And so most of our beautiful islands, beaches, and neighborhoods are open and ready to welcome you. And visitors can access 8 of our webcams at visitfortmyers.com/webcams. The webcam locations we have are of Bonita, Cape Coral, Manatee Park, Fort Myers Beach, at J. and Dean Darling National Wildlife Refuge on Sanibel Island, North Fort Myers, and Sanibel Island. So you can really go on and take a look for yourself at these webcams and see the beautiful areas, different areas of our community. I think that will give, maybe seeing is believing, and everybody's been subject to a lot of images over the past few weeks, and these are images of what it's like right now. Mm-hmm. So people can take a look at those.
And it's a wide span, Manatee Park. So when it cools off, you get to see all the manatees and you can get the real-time look. So I think it's a great tool for visitors I know locals like to use it too to see, okay, I want to go out to the beach today. What does it look like? And it's just a great tool for many people. And in this time that we call recovery, it's a great tool because we want people to see what is going on and be honest about what people are coming to. Many of these attractions and accommodations, they know how much these visitors want to come back and get their slice of paradise. And it's here. It is. And we want them to have that memorable experience. So, see it for yourself. Like you said, Pamela, seeing is believing. And we understand that. We know that people are bombarded all day with news or images or memes or whatever it is. That's why it's so important that our mission is to let people know what is open and what isn't. One of the great tasks I do is creating a weekly what to do distribution of things that people can do. And in this time around, we get back to work. Okay, what is open? What is happening? And in just days, I mean, it's the majority of the usual attractions that we send people to, things to do. They are open. And I cannot underestimate the power of our volunteers in this community and the way everybody comes together. I think people hear that a lot, but when you see it in person like this, it runs through the streets of Fort Myers Islands, beaches, and neighborhoods. People love it, and it shows. And I mean, the Wonder Gardens in Bonita Springs is one place that it is actually part animal refuge and just a great place for all ages. And those volunteers are out there first thing in the morning and got it cleaned up. It's open and ready to go. So those experiences are open and here for everybody.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the events and festivals and things like that, which we're going into our fall, early winter season, it's a time where the weather is a bit cooler and people are out and about. And I'm happy to hear that a lot of the bigger events are still planned. For example, we know that the Sand Sculpting Championship on Fort Myers Beach is still planned for November 21st to the 24th. We have accommodations that are open, ready, and vacation rentals ready to welcome you. Obviously, you check with your individual accommodation, but majority are open and ready to welcome visitors to the area.
And the airport's open.
Yes, yeah. Should have said that first.
Oh, that's all right.
Absolutely. You can get here.
Yeah. Yes, it is open and running. And just a quick note about the webcams. So the webcams are very popular, and you get to steer, you get to navigate when it's your turn, and you kind of have to stand in line, or you can watch where someone else is navigating. But sometimes it goes like 30 deep of people waiting for their spot to move that camera around, and that's it's real time, and that gives people just another way to see what's going on.
Yes, absolutely.
Pamela was talking about the Sand Sculpting Championship that is going to be happening in November 21st to the 24th, and a couple of other things that are going to be going on in November 7th, concerts in the park in Cape Coral, and the Big Arts 2024 Fall Film Festival, November 15th through the 16th. And please go to our website, visitfortmyers.com, for these listings of events, because things are going to be added all the time, and there's just so much going on and so much open, and it is just very important to support these small businesses, and they just appreciate your help so much.
Yep, and in addition to all of those events that are still going on, new businesses are coming online that we're planning this all pre-hurricane season. The Chubby Mermaid in Bonita Springs.
That's right.
That's right. First thing was, hey, no, we're still opening, we're still on, and they've got a great event planned for that. And then also the groundbreaking of places like the Beach Bar on Fort Myers Beach. So in addition to when we talk about reopening of businesses and to continue to support, there are businesses that were planning this all along, and they are still moving forward with their opening date. So that's encouraging, and it's hopeful, and it's exciting. There's still so much coming online from years in the making that is still moving forward.
And Chubby Mermaid is a craft brewery.
A craft brewery, yeah. I just said it like it's a person. Sorry. That's very local talk. Sorry, the Chubby Mermaid. Sorry.
I've already been on their website, and I've seen their swag. They've got some good swag. So,
I should say that is a brewery, yes, in addition to many of the others here. I love the creative names for breweries these days.
Yes. It's like a manatee.
Yeah.
Our little Chubby Mermaid is. So, and the manatees, it's cooling off, and the manatees are coming back, so, We want visitors to come back too. Well,
Absolutely.
thank you very much for your time. I appreciate you both being here to kick this episode off.
Yeah.
And we're going to be talking to some of our partners here in
Yes.
just a few minutes.
So much to talk about.
Absolutely,
Thank
yeah,
you both.
absolutely. Thank you for having us, Jackie. And just by visiting, you not only get a chance to experience the wonderful things that make this destination special and unique, but you also are supporting local businesses and helping our community thrive. So thank you.
I'm talking with Bill Waichulis, the general manager of the Pink Shell Beach Resort and Marina in Fort Myers Beach. And Bill, thank you first. I know you're very busy right now with cleanup and everything and reopening, but thank you so much for being on Shellcast.
My pleasure, Jackie. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and we're doing this podcast a week after Hurricane Milton. So today is October 17th, and there's so much more open in Lee County, and I just want listeners to know that this really is a moment in time, and to check your websites if you're coming down just to make sure what's open, what's going on. You and your team are no stranger when it comes to hurricanes, and most recently Helene and doing the cleanup for Island Hopper Songwriter Fest pool party, and then Milton. What have you learned from all of these natural disasters?
Well, I think what I've learned the most is the fact that having a great team makes life a lot easier.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we've gone through this drill a couple of times, and it's nice to see the staff just grind it out and get the resort back online. We always learn little things on more resiliency, and we improve it to where we can come on faster. I mean, Helene was a surprise of how much surge we got, and but within 36 hours we had the pool deck cleaned and ready, and we hosted Island Hopper and Scotty McCreery, which was fantastic. Milton was a little bit worse. It definitely was a little bit worse, but within 48 hours, the resort's fully back online. We're hosting guests. Everything is open. We have kayak tours. Wave runners are going. The shelling's fantastic. Everything's open here at the resort, and we're looking forward to everybody coming back and visiting with us.
And you are on the beach. You're on the beach on Fort Myers Beach. So you've got beach access, so people coming down will be able to enjoy the beach. Because right now, the beaches that are run by Lee County are temporarily closed. I mean, they will be opening back up, but there are several hotels and resorts on Fort Myers Beach, and also, on Sanibel, there are a few that have beachfront access and are open. So that's just, you've got the full deal right now, don't you?
Yeah, here at the Pink Shell, we're 11 acres, and we have both sides of the island. So we have the beach side, and we also have the Gulf side, the marina side of the resort. So, and all of it's open. We've got beach chairs, umbrellas, wave runners, parasailing right off the beach here at the Pink Shell is all open. And as you mentioned, the county parks are closed, but I think it's mainly for them to get their parking lots cleaned out with the sand and the temporary bathrooms up. But that'll happen in the coming days. But here at the Pink Shell, we've been able to accomplish that already, and we're actually hosting guests already as of Tuesday. We're hosting guests, many coming down from the Midwest as it's getting a little bit colder now.
What were some of the things that your team has learned time after time, to get everything back online so quickly? Are there just like a couple of things that you can share?
Sure. One of the things that we learned is we've got about $500,000 worth of equipment that's on the ground level. Kubotas, tractors, trailers that have all of our umbrellas and beach chairs. We've learned if we are in a storm watch, we remove all those items off the island. We trailer them all off. We have hurricane barriers that we put up that seal up the elevators, shafts, the pool pump rooms, all of the things on the ground level, kind of seal them up from any storm surge, makes it easier to clean up. And then we also learned with our elevators, you want to put them in the middle, not at the top, because then your weights are down in the bottom if you did, for some reason, get intrusion of flooding in the shafts. So we put our elevators in the middle. And it's just having your call system, which employees are going to be in town, who's not leaving the area, who's available to come back on immediately. And then our rally point is at the Walmart right on San Carlos. So we rally there, and then we shuttle everybody over, and we start the cleanup.
That elevator thing is what's sticking with me. That sounds just like it that makes sense, but you don't know until you know, I guess.
Well, yeah, and one of the biggest things that came out of Ian, and it's still a challenge, is elevator parts. I mean, elevator parts are very, very difficult to get. So anything you can do to resilient your elevators is a plus because once they go down, it'll be a while before they come back up. How
many floors does Pink Shell have, and how many rooms?
We have 3 buildings, 195 condo units, ranging of 1-bedroom and 2-bedroom units, and we're the highest building is 10 floors.
Yeah, so you need those elevators, definitely.
Oh yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
Can you share the story of your arm tattoo?
So after Ian, everybody just couldn't believe how bad it was. So I finally got my first tattoo, and it's a 7 and a 2 off-suited. It's a spade and a diamond. And the theory that I have, if anybody ever plays, Texas Hold'em or cards, if you get a 7 and 2 off-suited, it's like one of the worst hands you could get because you can't really do anything with it. But my philosophy is that it's not about the cards you're dealt, it's how you play the cards. So, during Ian, we had a $80 million insurance claim. So we looked at it, our cards that we dealt were pretty bad, but how do we make the best out of it? And we took all the guest feedback, things that guests said they'd like to see different. We made those changes and made the resort better, and that's, I think, the best you can do out of when you're dealt really bad cards is just play them as best as you can. Yeah, I think the other thing that I've learned out of these storms is you have these restoration companies that'll come in and help you get online, and they bring day laborers in and help put it. But what we found is best is our own employees. They don't mind going down and shoveling sand. They might be a cook the next day, but going down and shoveling sand, those employees put more effort and time and energy into bringing back the resort than somebody that isn't employed here. And I think that's where it shows very important to the employees and the culture, because they appreciate still being able to be paid and have hours and not worrying about, am I going to be able to have a check this week? So I think those are other things that we've learned through these storms is leaning on our employees a little bit more to get us back online, and they do a great job at doing it.
And that's why it's so important for people who are listening, who are living up north in the Midwest and on the East Coast and even Canada and Germany, all around the world, who come to Fort Myers. That's why it's important to keep the economy going.
Yeah, and anybody traveling here, I mean, there's we're very fortunate being newer construction and a larger resort to be online, but there's a lot of businesses that now have been impacted by 3 storms that are still trying to they just got back open. And we would love to host you down here. I could guarantee you'll have a fantastic time here in Fort Myers Beach. There is lots to do, from kayaking, parasailing, shelling, just enjoying the beach or the pools. And there's many businesses that are relying on you when you do come that would appreciate you visiting. So with that, I mean we. There's lots to do, and I can guarantee you to have a great vacation here on Fort Myers Beach.
And exactly. And later in November 21st through the 24th, the Sand Sculpting Championship is going to be going on down on Fort Myers Beach, and that's going to attract a lot of people too.
A great event. There's a few resorts that are showcasing some of the sand sculpting right here on the island. We're just finishing up. Well, we're midway through a beach renourishment, and which has been finished here at our end of the beach. And the sand is just is fantastic.
Yeah. And you said the shelling's really good right now too.
You know, that's one of the pluses out of a hurricane is what it washes in, and it washes in a lot of seashells. So there's been a lot of great finds down on the beach.
That's great. Bill, I just want to thank you again for being a guest on Shellcast, and we appreciate your time, and congratulations for getting everything up and running so quickly, less than a week after, and you guys were up and running at Pink Shell on Fort Myers Beach.
It's my pleasure, and we look forward to hosting your listeners here on Fort Myers Beach. Come on down.
Let me go ahead and introduce you to our listeners, okay? And we'll get right in it, all right?
Excellent. Thank you.
Yes. So this is John Lai. He is the president and CEO of the SanCap Chamber of Commerce. And also, you're still chairman of Visit Florida, right?
That's correct. Yes, thanks, Jackie. I am the chairman of Visit Florida through next year. So.
Okay. And Florida Restaurant Lodging Association.
I'm on the board of directors for our local chapter for Florida Restaurant Lodging Association as well. Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you. It's always great when a man of so many hats has some time to speak with us on the episodes of Shellcast. How are all the initiatives that are coming online on Sanibel and Captiva?
Yeah, thanks, Jackie. That's a good question. We are sitting on Sanibel right now, and just thanking our lucky stars, because we know how fortunate we are. We think of our neighbors to the north and what they're going through. We certainly can relate, as we are still in the midst of recovering from Ian ourselves, but we are well on our way to full recovery. I would say about 60% or 70% of the way there. We have gotten out so far from this year's hurricane season relatively unscathed. We have a great beach to showcase. The shelling has never been better. The weather is beautiful, and the water is gorgeous. So we've got some really good things going for us right now.
I was talking with Bill Waichulis earlier today, and he said the shelling's incredible on Fort Myers Beach.
Jackie, it is wild. As someone who has grown up here my entire life, I'm still blown away. It's almost like a sunset or a dolphin that doesn't get old, right?
Yeah.
When you walk out onto our pristine beaches and you just see more shells than sand everywhere you turn, it's like a kid in a candy store. And the beauty of the shelling on our beaches is that you can look around and see 8-year-olds having a great time next to 80-year-olds having a great time, and everywhere in between, finding something special in just what Mother Nature has washed up on our shores.
Yeah, it is fun for all ages. It's free. And
exactly, yes.
And as long as there's nothing in it, living, you can take it with you.
Absolutely. It is one of those things that is just the best souvenir that people take home with them and keep them forever. I mean, we've got people who bring back shells with them to show off to their neighbors in the hotel rooms next to them. So we're very, very excited about it, and the fact that the shelling has never been better, and the beaches look great.
That's great. So you've got, as of right now, today is October 17th. You've got 25 restaurants open, 22 retailers, and just under 20 lodging options. But those numbers are going to change.
Yeah, that's the thing. So the setback that we had from the past 3 weeks have been one of those things that we know we're just associated with as we live in this piece of paradise. However, we're grateful once again that it is a weeks, not months or years recovery from these storms. So like you just mentioned, we've got, I know that Clean Waters opens on Saturday. We've got Sanibel Island Beach Resort opening on Friday. We've got every day that we post our open businesses list, we see those numbers go up. And what's great about it is that, the businesses that are going up because they were built more resiliently following Ian. So this isn't exactly as it was intended, where as we rebuild, we're building back with better materials that we can wash off as opposed to having to replace. But the fact that we were very much largely spared by these two storms gives us great promise.
What are some of the things that this is listeners around the world? It's hard to believe, but listeners listen to this podcast around the world, and people get information from so many different places.
Sure.
And we want this Shellcast episode especially to reassure people and let them know, hey, RSW is open. You can fly down here. You can drive down here. And there are things to do. We're getting ready. We're going into season. And there are so many things to do. I know you've got something for the holidays that you're going to want to talk about. But are there the campaigns that are going to be going on to let people know? Will people up north see those, or am I off base on that?
No, absolutely they will. Yeah, we're going to be running 3 separate campaigns. After hurricane season is over, on November 30th, we'll be running The Coast is Clear, showcasing the beautiful waters off of our beaches, and real-time footage with date and time stamps on those photos. And then Blue Skies in Paradise will launch next week. They'll see that on digital and in print in the Northeast and Midwest. And then one thing that everyone can tune into, if you don't follow already, the SanCap Chamber of Commerce Facebook page and Instagram page, you will be doing a series of Facebook Live events called Pieces of Paradise. And we're really excited about this because we're going to have it at local restaurants, retailers, shopping centers, but most importantly, obviously, as we all know, getting the money shots out on the beaches at local hotels to show the real-time live look at hotel rooms, resorts, and obviously what people come here for, the pool and the beach and the sunshine. And so people can see, they don't have to take my word for it, they can see firsthand on Facebook Live as we're walking through, our main roads, or walking through our big shopping center, our great shopping centers and restaurants, or walking down a beach during a sunset and just enjoying a moment of Zen. I won't talk during them. I will do 30 seconds of intro of where we are, what we're doing today, and then allow the pictures to tell the story.
Yeah, just set the stage.
Exactly. The videos, we came across the causeway today, and just almost on cue, 3 dolphins are rolling, and the water is as blue as I've seen it in a long time. So these are the things I feel like the folks up north love to see.
Yeah.
In Southwest Florida and Lee County and Santa Monica Captiva is certainly a jewel that we love to share. So thanks for asking. We certainly hope the rest of the world will enjoy everything that we have to show them.
Oh, I'm sure they will. And how's the lighthouse doing?
The lighthouse is fantastic.
Great.
We have finished the complete restoration of it, so it is looking great. And all 4 legs are there. They are painted in the beautiful pencil color that it was so well known for. And the beach around the lighthouse is, I think it's great because I can't see it. It's covered in shells. So on this Shellcast episode, it is, and I wish I was exaggerating. I'm not. You may think I am. But you can get on that beach right now and literally just make snow angels in the shells.
And just walk on shells. Wow.
Exactly. It's fantastic.
Oh my gosh. So the luminary, that's coming up for the holidays, right?
It sure is. We've got some really exciting stuff coming up, and the luminary is back this year. We did take last year off. The volume of retailers and restaurants on the island just wasn't where we wanted it to be to have this festival, and we are grateful that this is a time and a place that we can host this event this year and really celebrate the resilience of our islands and the reopening of the businesses that are there. So on December 6th, we will be celebrating it here on Sanibel Island. If you've never been to Luminary, it's an evening event where we line the main road, Periwinkle Way, and some of the arteries just off of it with luminary bags, and we light the way with the candles in the bags, so it looks really, really pretty. The city does a great job of lighting the trees along the path so that you can ride a bike or walk on the bike path, and just enjoy a nice evening of shopping, eating, and enjoying each other's company. It's going to be a great time. And then on December 7th, we have the same thing on Captiva Island. So a much needed celebration. And a great time to be around Sanibel and Captiva. If I may, I would like to also point out that November 5th is the city of Sanibel's 50th anniversary.
That's right.
Which we'll be celebrating all year from November 5th of this year through November 5th of next year. And so Luminary falls right in that frame. So we'll be certainly celebrating with some special festivities on Luminary to celebrate the city's 50th and have a great time with that. So you'll see some things on this Luminary walk that you haven't seen before.
Very cool. And what about the time capsule?
Oh, yeah. So on November 5th, on the actual 50th anniversary date of the incorporation of the city of Sanibel, we will be hosting an event at City Hall that is really exciting. When the original city council celebrated the fact that we were our own city, they buried a time capsule at City Hall that we don't know what's in there. It's been in there for the 50 years. I suppose the city council members that are still around know what's in there, but no one's talking. And so we will be having an unveiling of the of extracting that time capsule, opening it up, and showcasing to the general public what's in there, and then burying our very own time capsule for the next 50 years. So really fun stuff, and can't wait to see that happen.
So, okay, I'm doing my math here. So that was 1974.
Yes.
Wow. There's the mind just races with the things that could possibly be in there.
Absolutely. And Porter Goss, who is the first mayor of the city of Sanibel, still lives on the island. So he will certainly be there. I'm anxious to see his face, to see if he's as surprised as we are, or if his face says, "I knew all along and I just wasn't telling you." But it's going to be such a blast.
Well, he has an association with the CIA. Is that correct?
He certainly does.
So
yes,
he's probably pretty good at keeping a secret. So
I would say so. If you're going to tell anyone a secret, it's Porter Goss. He will keep that one well.
Wow. I wonder if there's any disco stuff. I don't know. I'm just wondering.
I have to imagine there's a shell that's like a disco ball in there, but the mind will wander when you start thinking about what could be in there. Cannot wait.
So this will be a public event.
This will be a public event, yes. So we encourage you, if you're planning a trip for Thanksgiving, or you want to be down here to celebrate something really special, that's the time to do it. Come a little bit early if you're celebrating Thanksgiving, and be a part of these festivities, because it is certainly going to be a once-in-a-lifetime event.
That's going to be so much fun.
Like I said before, and I'll say it 100 times after, our water has never looked better. Our beaches have never looked better. And one of the greatest things about this island is that all the places that you remember, if they're not back, they're coming back very soon, and we can't wait to welcome you all back. Hope to see everyone that's listening to this podcast on our Pieces of Paradise Facebook Lives. Go ahead and once again follow us on Sanibel and Captiva Island Chamber of Commerce, Facebook and Instagram. There'll be great things, and you don't want to miss them.
Yeah, John Lai, once again, it's a pleasure, and I appreciate your time, and I know you're a busy man, and you're making things happen, and we appreciate all you do for the destination. Thank you.
Thanks, Jackie. Right back at you.
All right.
Appreciate you, and have a great day.
And we'll go ahead and give him a call.
Put it on speaker.
This is Matt.
Hi, Matt. This is Jackie Parker, and I've got Miriam Dotson with me. How are you?
Hi, how you both doing?
Hi, Matt.
How y'all been?
How have you been? My goodness. We'll go on and on.
God, I'm ready for winter. Good Lord.
Matt, just to give you a little context, we just jumped into action because we thought, so many people are so confused geographically about where we are. In this case, after Milton and Helene and all this, we've noticed just so many attractions, Edison and Ford hotels, have opened so quickly. And obviously the coastal communities are still struggling, but many people are like, they see Sarasota County and they think that's us, or they see Tampa, Jacksonville, and they don't realize that there's still stuff going on here and how important that plays a role.
I'm just excited for all the events coming up in the next few weeks and months that not only help out our community, but also, try to get us back to what we love it as. And it's going to take some time. And I've been hearing from a lot of locals in Englewood and Boca Grande and Manistota Key, and it's going to be a while for them. I mean, it's going to be months.
Yeah.
And but if we can give them those updates and show them the best still in our community, then that's a win-win.
Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and introduce you. So Miriam and I are talking on the phone with Matt Devitt, chief meteorologist for Wink News, and I like to refer to him as the calm before, during, after Hurricane Milton. Matt, thank you so much for taking time to talk to us on this episode of Shellcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
And you don't know this, but we are neighbors. I am a resident, my husband and I, of Babcock Ranch.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And I appreciate any and all shout-outs that you give during your weather forecast.
Well, and it's funny. I obviously try to be as fair as possible with all of the area. But, with my wife and little boy here during the storm, of course, especially during the tornadoes, I had to say, hey, hon, I would say on air, hey, the tornado cell is now away and you guys are okay. And every now and then I'll try to sneak in those little nuggets just to let them know that, not only my family's okay, but all of Babcock. So, by the way, this is the worst tornado outbreak we've ever had. And data goes back to 1950. Locally, we are at 15 tornadoes. The National Weather Service is surveying one right now in North Fort Myers, so I wouldn't be surprised if the total goes up.
Wow.
The second highest tornado outbreak was 10, and we are at, 15 and counting. So this has been, it is very rare to see something like that with this many tornadoes. And
Matt, maybe listeners just heard some horn honking. We're in our Studio B, which is my car, in the parking lot.
That's okay. It sounds fancy. I like it.
We are out and about. We are always out and about with everybody here in the county.
The acoustics in the car are really good for podcasts, so that's what we're doing.
Sounds good to me.
Okay, thank you for the information about the tornadoes. So I just want to ask you. You grew up in Melbourne, Florida, correct?
I did.
So
yeah.
you're a Florida guy.
I'm Florida blood, true and true. My love for weather did develop in Florida. I was hit by a hurricane in 1995 called Aaron, and that one kind of started things a lot. I also went through a tornado situation and a funnel cloud, and those memories and those experiences kind of molded me into who I am today in terms of developing the seed that kind of grew into becoming a meteorologist. So if you were to ask me hey, what's the number one thing that you enjoy about the job, or why do you do this? And it's you guys, and it's the community, and it's making sure that people have updated, constant information so that they're safe. Mm-hmm. And to me, that's what I enjoy about the job. True story. I swear I'm not making this up. The whole TV element and all that is really not my favorite. I do it because I love weather. It just so happens that I'm on TV. But, if I went the next several years without ever being on TV, I'm fine with that. I'm not in the business to be on TV. I'm in the business to be a weatherman. Mm-hmm. And that is why I do the job, and it's to make sure that everyone is informed. And I don't know, I guess I'm rare in that sense. I don't have to be on TV to me, as long as people are getting out the information, which just so happens one of the best way to do that is on TV.
Yeah.
then that's why I do it.
From a weather perspective, Matt, what kind of assurances can you offer listeners that Southwest Florida really it's safe to visit?
The occasional hurricane, it does come with the territory, and we've been hit with hurricanes in the past. We were hit with hurricanes this year, and we will get hit with hurricanes in the future. But that doesn't diminish the beauty that this area has, and there's so much to do, and our pristine water during peak season, and we will get to those levels once again. And especially, man, when you hit January, February, March, those waters look absolutely beautiful. Obviously, they're gonna clean up and they're gonna reconstruct, and it'll take a few weeks and months, but we will get this community back to what we know and love. And there is a lot to love, and the community has also been expanding with fun things to do, and as we know, granted I'm a little biased, there also is a lot of just genuinely good people that look after one another. And for example, during the storm, I didn't have any time to put up my own shutters. I had neighbors that came and helped me out. Mm-hmm. And so that, I tell you, that's what I really love about this community is, for the most part, we help each other out.
So there's a little partnership that we've got with Week News and other channels. Our webcams that are all around Lee County, you use those a lot as a resource.
Oh yeah, I am real big on the webcams because, I can show you temperatures or I can show you what it is on a graphic, but the best way to see the weather, and this is kind of an ongoing joke, is to just look outside. And to help do that, I am building our weather camera network as much as I can, and more cameras the merrier. It does get tricky during hurricanes because those cameras lose power.
That's right. Yeah.
Or they get completely blown away, which happened during Ian.
Yes.
But the cameras, I'm real big on that, and I actually had a meeting just yesterday with management at Wink, and new spots that we're going to put cameras, and I'm looking to really build that network so that way there's not a single spot in South Florida where we can't see what's going on.
Mm-hmm. And the other thing with the webcams too, Matt, is that listeners to the podcast can go online and use them themselves. They can also use them. I mean, anybody, it's a resource for everyone.
Oh, absolutely. And a lot of these are publicly available. For example, let's say you either have a trip to, let's say, Fort Myers Beach, or if you want to see what the surge is, the current conditions, sunny, beautiful day, are people out? There's a nice Margaritaville camera that's on YouTube, and that will have you look at the conditions live. And that is the one expanding technology that I really like, is that we're putting up more cameras. I think that we need more, but it's a growing trend the past few years.
Yeah. And the 8 webcams that we have for Fort Myers, islands, beaches, and neighborhoods, you can find those at visitfortmyers.com/webcams. So, Matt, I want to talk just a little bit about the storm, and the thing that I heard more, and a lot of other people heard more this time around with Milton, was about evacuation. And that evacuation doesn't necessarily mean leaving Florida. It's, just going a few miles inland.
Bingo. What you just said is so incredibly powerful, and it's very helpful, and it's so important. You're exactly right, because when we tell you to evacuate, pardon my French, but just get the hell away from the water. That's all you need to do. That doesn't mean that you have to go to Miami or you have to go to Melbourne or you have to go to Orlando. Just get away from the water. That can be a quick 5 to 10. Obviously, from there, do you know a friend or a family member, or is there local shelter? Next consideration, but you just got to get away from the water. One of the steps with Ian is that our largest local shelter, Hertz Arena, was not even near capacity during Ian. And think of all those people that on Sanibel and Fort Myers Beach. It's a 20-30 minute drive inland. And that's the one thing I really tried to stress with this storm, is that if you want to go to Miami and you want to go to Orlando, you can, but you don't have to. Just get high enough away from the water. You can do that by going to a community like Babcock or Ave Maria or Lehigh Acres. And the one exception to that is you just got to avoid the rivers. You know, you just got to get inland. So very well said. That's completely accurate.
What do you and your family enjoy doing in Lee County?
Oh, yeah. Well, obviously with my little boy, my 1.5-year-old, we loved the park in downtown Fort Myers.
Yeah.
Man, oh my, the playground is amazing.
Yeah.
My little boy Jack had a wonderful time. And then we also have been going to some of the local splash pads. Those are fun as well. And then even the ones that we have at Babcock. And also going to the beach. And granted, I know we have a little bit of recovery time now, but we will get back to what we know and love. And I'll even tell you this right now, one of the plans we have this weekend is to do a pumpkin patch in Bonita. So just fun things to do as a family.
Yeah.
That there's so much to do in this area.
We want to thank you for your time and get some well-earned rest. We just appreciate, and I know your followers on social media, they're all around the world, and they were very concerned with what was going on down here, and a big thank you.
Yeah.
You're very welcome. That page, by the way, is funny. It started with one, and it was my mom. I can't believe how much it's grown. And like you said, sometimes I don't realize the scope of it. Like I'll get messages from like Australia or Europe, and I'm like, wow, you're following from there.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
But no, it was heavily used as Milton approach. But hopefully we'll be the last one for a while.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys, for the consideration and for having me on. I appreciate it.
I'm chatting with Jeff Mielke, Executive Director of the Lee County Sports Development Office. Jeff, thank you so much for your time today. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. I always love doing podcasts with you.
You're always a great guest. So what I wanted to talk to you about today was, could you share just all the things that are going on from college basketball to baseball?
Yeah, sure. So this weekend we start actually a 5-week-long adult baseball series called the Roy Hobbs World Series, and we have 300 teams from all over the United States and a few teams from international destinations that come in and stay for 7 days and fill up our hotels and our restaurants and play on our ball fields, and it's a great time. It's very loyal, tournament based, so that will have a huge injection of hospitality and tourism into our community over the next 5 weeks. Right after that, we've got another baseball organization comes in around Thanksgiving called Game Day, and it's a bunch of younger athletes who normally don't get to play on baseball fields like we have here in Fort Myers. It's always a neat tournament for us to host. Mm-hmm. And you did mention basketball. We've gotten to be known as a great both high school and college basketball destination. We host 2 tournaments during Thanksgiving week. One of them is down at Hertz Arena, and it's called the Gulf Coast Showcase. It's a men's and women's tournament, 8 teams each. They stay at the Hyatt Coconut Point. Last year, Iowa women's team and featured Caitlin Clark, played against FGCU's women's team. That brought a lot of energy to that facility. And across town at the Suncoast Arena on the campus of Florida Southwestern State College, we've got what's called the Fort Myers Tip-Off. And that is a nationally televised event, again, both men and women. And this year, the men's field features Michigan, South Carolina, Xavier, and Virginia Tech. Anytime you're bringing a Big Ten school into our community, it's always a big hit. Yes. And then on Thanksgiving Day, we start the women's tournament, and we have the defending national champions, the South Carolina women. We'll play Iowa State on Fox Television in the afternoon on Thanksgiving Day. So to have our destination showcased on a major network such as Fox on a holiday where a lot of people are going to be watching football, and Fox certainly has one of those football games, to see us featured in the same space is pretty neat and helps with our placemaking story on how sports is contributing to the culture of our community. Along with South Carolina and Iowa State, also is coming Purdue, Michigan, and Virginia Tech women. So I think the synergy is kind of cool that
Michigan, South Carolina, and Virginia Tech are bringing both their men's and women's programs down here, so that
Exactly.
their alumni will have a presence in our community the entire Thanksgiving week. The men are going to stick around to support the women. It's a great time to be an alumni of any of those schools to soak up our islands, beaches, and neighborhoods.
Yes, and I think everything that we've been through here in the destination, to get that to kick off the holidays is terrific.
Yeah, and to fight the negative images that might come out of our destination sometimes, whether we're weather storm weary or however somebody might coin it, to be able to show them images of a thriving sports scene and to see South Carolina and Iowa State on Thanksgiving Day. And last year we were able to host Indiana and the Lady Vols women playing on Thanksgiving Day, and at that time, it was Fox's largest audience for a women's basketball game that they'd ever had. So we're getting the word out. We're letting people know that we're okay here. In fact, we're better than okay. We're thriving. Our recoveries, although we do take our recovery very serious, and we have some parts of our destination that are struggling, and we still have a lot of work to do in some areas, we are still doing some really neat things to make sure that people know that our destination is in a good place.
Definitely. Yeah, your team works so hard with our Parks and Recreation, and it's just these lineups are incredible. This is great. Keep on. There's more.
Yeah, so after Thanksgiving, then we go into December, and you mentioned Parks and Recreation. We have some great baseball tournaments that all happen at our spring training venues and our other baseball fields that are so well taken care of by our parks department. We have some youth soccer events that we're hosting. We have some girls fast pitch events that are turning out to be very popular. So again, those are all on our Lee County Parks and Rec fields, and those are great facilities. And then we hit the holidays, and we are expecting to have Ireland's national women's fast pitch team come into Lee County to train for a few days as they are trying to get better and have a chance to compete in the 2028 Olympic Games in Los Angeles. So we are working with Team Ireland right now to hopefully solidify their plans to get here. We have a massive amount of baseball players coming to be seen by Major League scouts and college coaches also over the holiday weekend through Perfect Game. So that will fill up many hotels from around December 27th through the 30th. And then we roll kind of into the fantasy camp season, where both the Red Sox and Twins have official fantasy camps, and those are very popular to people up north. And then you're knocking on the door for spring training. As you know, we have the Boston Red Sox and Minnesota Twins spring training facilities here, and both of them did really well last year, both finished in the top 4 as far as Grapefruit League attendance. So we're very proud to have those partnerships in place.
Definitely. It's always a fun time.
Yep. The town comes alive during spring training. It's a different energy here.
Yeah.
We always look forward to that time of year.
And in February, we've got something extra special going on.
We do. We were just I think 2 weeks ago, the Savannah Bananas announced their 2025 World Tour, and Lee County is on that tour. We're going to host 3 games at JetBlue Park in partnership with the Boston Red Sox on February 14 through 16. What an amazing opportunity to use our bed tax, use our hospitality-driven funds to offer something like that to our citizens and tourists alike. There is quite a lottery, apparently, to get a ticket to a Savannah Banana game. I read an article where they plan to be seen by 2 million fans in 2025, and they're going to have a 3 million fan wait list. If you are a fan of Savannah Bananas, I encourage you to get on that list. I think they have a lottery for all of their tickets, but we will certainly sell out all 3 of our games here in February. And what a cool experience, again, to showcase what tourism does for our destination for both tourists and local citizens alike.
What a fun, unique thing to do on Valentine's Day, February 14th, something that's definitely different. when journalists from around the world come visit and they ask about the spring training facilities for the Red Sox and the Twins. They want to know what happens. They're only here for a little over a month. What happens to those facilities? And you've given an incredible lineup of all the ways that those facilities are used.
Yeah, we host another 40 baseball tournaments in those facilities throughout the year. We fill probably, of the 190,000 hotel rooms that sports tourism fills, probably 110,000 of them come through those amateur baseball tournaments. So 220 days a year we're putting amateur youth sports and the adult baseball into our town. So you can pretty much think that January, February, and March at our spring training venues is being used by the teams. Once mid-May comes along, we host the Florida High School Baseball State Championships.
Definitely. These players come down and they bring their families, and when they're not participating in sporting events, there's so many things for them to do, to spend the morning or spend the day at the beach or go experience nature.
Yeah, we've heard from many hoteliers that they get repeat business from families that came down. Their gateway into our destination was through a sports event, and they did a little exploring while they were here and ate in some restaurants and maybe had a beer on the beach, and then they loved it, and they came back later for their family vacations and then stayed out on the islands and
Nice.
or on Fort Myers Beach. So we do know that these sporting events spin off a loyal tourism base that goes above and beyond just the event itself.
Yeah. Well, thank you to sports tourism. You talked about it being a gateway. One more way to get people down here, and they maybe didn't have enough time and they want to come back.
It is. We're lucky to have the venues that we have and such a quality destination that offers so much to do. And our sports guests just love it down here.
Terrific. Again, my guest for this segment is Jeff Mielke. He's the Executive Director of the Lee County Sports Development Office. And Jeff, thank you so much. And there's so much to look forward to in Lee County.
Thanks, Jackie. Always enjoy talking with you.
I'd like to once again thank my guests for being on this episode of Shellcast, the award-winning podcast of Fort Myers, Islands, Beaches, and Neighborhoods. The podcast is produced by the Lee County Visitor Convention Bureau in Fort Myers, Florida. I'm Jackie Parker. Thank you so much for listening to Shellcast, the podcast that's a beach break for your ears. And remember, it's available wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts.
Good morning, Bill speaking.